QR.
The quote for what?
QR.
Oh, no, I didn't. That's not part of this meeting.
Oh,
I was gonna show him, yes. No, I didn't grab it.
We're gonna go ahead and, okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order at 1 o'clock. Ross is gonna be a little late, so I'm gonna get the meeting going until he gets here. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
I'll
John.
make a motion. Oh, that's a great picture. That's awesome.
I'll second it, or if somebody didn't already.
This is being filmed though.
Second. Okay, we'll do a roll call. Director Clark,
Yes.
Director O'Connor,
Yes,
Director Parks.
Yes,
Okay, and I'm a yes. Item C is the public comment portion of the meeting. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on a matter that is not on this agenda? Once, twice, okay. Item D is the approval of the minutes from the April 26 Building and Planning meeting. It's on pages 2 and 4. They've had a chance to look at them.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move as such.
Okay, moved by Director Clark. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Director Alconin. Okay, Director Clark, your vote.
Yes.
Director Alconin,
Yes,
Director Parks.
yes,
Okay, and I'm a yes. That passes. Item E is the project updates. We'll start with the master plan. That'll be you, Mr. Easterday.
Yes, I believe so. Okay, so on the master plan or the master upgrade of the hospital, we are obviously still in plan review. We've not received any comments back from HCI at this point, but it is in review. The architect and engineers came out last week and spent a whole day here just going through and checking things and verifying things as far as making sure they had everything in their head. So if questions arose, they would be able to respond quickly, and that went well. The RFP for getting a price on the project went out. It was posted on May 16 with proposals due on June 4th. And I contacted Cummins that did our cost proposal before. I also contacted 3 additional companies that were recommended, Sailor Group and Sierra West Group and Unger Construction. And all 4 expressed interest in doing it, though yesterday, I believe it was, I got an email from Unger bowing out. So we still have 3 companies working on a proposal to put together a cost that I'm aware of. It's also put out statewide. The RFP is available on a statewide website for anybody who is interested in bidding, but I have not had anybody contact me other than these people here that I contacted. So at this point, in a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks, we should have the proposals for review. And we will, as a group, review them, go over them, decide who is either best qualified, lowest price. I mean, the RFP is written for the best interest of the hospital district. So it doesn't mean we have to go with lowest price if we felt the firm was not qualified.
Okay.
I clarified that with Scott, and he approved that. And so that's the way our proposal, our RFPs are written. so that it doesn't just lock us into the automatic low bid and then we find out they're not competent. So we'll have those on June 14. Our new admin building is in plan review at the county.
Hey, Bob,
Yes.
under the master plan, the building across the street on Dogwood, do we have any plans at all? That building is 1,500 square feet. And I think Bob and Heidi are going to be over there, Tim and Heidi. But they're not going to need 1,500 square feet. We're paying $40,000.
Oh, no, we're not going, Gene, we're not going over there. We're going up to finance.
The building you're referring to, we sublease 50% of the space from
Right.
Bakersfield Family Medical Group.
He's talking about Dogwood.
Yeah, I'm
Dogwood.
talking about using
Yes.
Dogwood instead of paying 40,000 a year.
The billing office is Dogwood.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you referring to where accounting is currently?
Where finance is right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that is going to be more than just administration at this point. We've talked about marketing
Marketing's
being
gonna-
there, and possibly some other people.
Right.
So
Well, possibly, this is planning. What are we gonna do? I mean, possibly. What is it gonna be? Are we gonna continue to pay $40,000 a year for nothing? Dave, are you there?
I thought we owned that building.
No, no,
County.
no.
We're
He's talking
we're
about-
leasing,
You're talking where we rent.
right?
That's outside of my scope of jurisdiction. We currently
We're
have,
for the master plan and we're all here.
My understanding was the people that are in that space, we provide offices for them down in the new administrative building, correct?
yes, so those people, we have created spaces for them down in the new admin building.
Oh, okay,
So
Lisa
we-
Wiley will be down there. I understood she would, for some reason, Mark didn't want her down there.
No,
Mark, do you have any idea?
Mark has nothing to do with where Lisa is.
Okay,
That
okay,
would be Greg.
yeah.
okay. So then what will we use that building for? Right
Well-
now, it's still just like the house. It's never been modified in any way. There's no bearing walls to speak of. It's just a straight structure. It could be put into several little offices that would accommodate the doctors as they come up. I think, Tim, you're getting more doctors to come up and work with us. What are we going to use it for?
Well, at this point in time, I don't have plans for it. Like I said, we were trying to get that building emptied. That's why we were trying to arrange for them to move down to our building, the new administration building down the street here. We were gonna go up the street to finance to make space so that whole hallway is cleared out here, an administration wing and so forth. So there is a potential that we can do away with that lease. So, which is kind of what you guys have been asking for. So if we develop a need for that space, then we can certainly
Are
do
we
something.
gonna leave it empty, Tim?
No, we don't have to, no. Absolutely. not.
Well, we can leave it empty and not pay rent on it, is where we're
That's what
going.
we're saying, yeah. We can give up the lease on, we sublease it from BFMC. BFMC has the master lease on it from
Right, right.
the physician that owns that.
But we can use that building across the, in lieu of leasing that one,
That's the building where you're planning.
the one on Dogwood, the current finance building.
See,
Yeah.
that's where GI consults are going back. We're trying to bring the GI doctors back. That's where they see their patients
Okay. Okay.
in there.
So they-
We do other specialties and so forth. The plan was to use that space over there because we don't have enough space in the clinic for them to see patients.
So we would be able to use the current finance building to accommodate them.
No, finance would be accommodating administration,
Marketing.
marketing and potentially a couple of others, because we've added some people that we may not fit in down there.
If,
Staffing will be up there.
Do we
What's
have plan? do we have
Staffing
plans for
coordinator will
that?
be up there.
Traffic coordinator too, yeah.
Do we have
if-
plans for that? Are they drawn out or how is
Not
it?
yet.
Well, we're in planning, Tim.
I understand that space is very easy to accommodate because that can all be done ourselves. You know, again, because it's mostly open space there. We can do it with cubicles. I mean, it'd be easy to put a couple of walls in there. It's not gonna be above the dollar threshold that we need to go out and bid this publicly.
Well, it seems like we should be planning on what we're gonna do with it, because something's gonna be happening next couple of years. Anyway, thanks, Bob.
We'll be way ahead of that.
We will have that all squared away shortly on exactly who will go into what spaces in the accounting house. If we were to keep the lease on the BFMC building, it would only be because we put in a revenue generating patient care in that space.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so on the new admin building, the only thing I did get today was an email from the architect. I was copied on an email. It would appear that possibly Kern County's floodplain may be rearing its ugly head. I don't know if everybody's aware, but Kern County does like most counties, they follow the FEMA maps, except for Kern County, for the town of Mountain Mesa. They have their own separate study that was done by someone who has passed away many years ago, that has the entire area of the hospital in a floodplain and all the way down to the highway and past. And they have lost the study. They cannot produce it. All they have is a hand-drawn map done by this gentleman many years ago, and they will not budge on it. It is gospel to them. I've talked with them what it would take to make that map go away, and they said, if I were to hire a professional company to do an entire floodplain study of this valley right here, they would consider looking at it and possibly overruling this old plan that was drawn by an employee of the county.
Bob, where they came from, there were pictures of the '84 flood. And there were 2 or 3 inches of water going down the highway. And that's where that came from. I've seen the maps or the pictures of that flood. And there was water coming down, but it was a few inches. It wasn't.
Understood, but according to this guy up here at the hospital, it's 2 feet deep. And down at the new admin building, it's 1 foot deep with a flow rate of 4 something or other.
This is interior remodel. There's nothing happening on the outside. This should be completely exempt.
And that's what I have explained to the architect. We should be exempt because we're not adding square footage.
Right.
We added square footage at the clinic and they made me waterproof the building and do the flood doors.
Right.
So I am hoping that we win on this one and that it's just being discussed, but then since we're adding no square footage, it's an internal remodel. We, like, as you said, we should be exempt. I'm only saying that I just got that email about an hour ago, and he was very concerned and was asking the county for the study and the map. And so I just responded directly to the architect and not to the guy at the county, because I have their map. They scanned it for me and I have it in my files, and I emailed it to the architect.
If it becomes an issue, we need to sit down with whoever the department head is and say, baloney, guys.
Oh, I agree, because it could add hundreds of thousands of dollars to the project.
Ridiculous.
Our supervisor should be able to help in a case like that, shouldn't he?
I can chat with him. I know Phil pretty well.
Okay.
I just wanted you all to be aware. I wasn't sure of who had been involved with us back when we did the clinic a number of years ago. So I just wanted to go back through very quickly where the county's stand is on this floodplain so that you're aware of what we're dealing with, but hopefully it will go away.
Bob, if worst comes to worst, FEMA just updated all of their information October 1st of last year. So trust me, we got ammunition. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I agree with you. But I have had multiple meetings in the floodplain department at the county, and
That's fine.
it is difficult.
Let them live on their high horse. We'll show them new studies. That's all. Don't worry about it.
I understand.
Does Gene and Greg get a write-off on their flood insurance then?
Yeah, I'll help pay for that because my house is in floodplain too.
Take that fence, right?
Okay, I think that's all I have on the master upgrade project. Unless anybody has any questions.
If it's gonna be upgraded, then we shouldn't worry about flood, because it'll be higher.
That's right, upgraded.
I even proposed to them putting up a retaining wall to divert the water. And got told that then I have to put together a plan to maintain that wall for the next 100 years and who's going to do it, and on and on and on. I mean, it's just amazing.
Tell them I'll take care of it.
So we should not have to do anything.
I agree.
Agreed, we all agree.
I agree. We're adding no square footage. It's all internal.
So, John, thank you
Oh, you're welcome.
for starting the meeting. I'm here, so I'll go ahead and assume incident command now. And so where are we, Bob? You did master
I
plan?
just did master plan. We just
Okay.
finished that
All right.
line item,
So go ahead and begin with number 2.
which I don't have the schedule. Just say what it is.
Okay.
Oh, the,
Oh, SBC 40 material testing.
Oh, okay. Technically, that's part of the master plan. Yeah, so. I had put in kind of an update on each of the various things, but on the 4D.
Page 5.
Yeah, on the 4D, we haven't got a decision yet between our structural engineer and HKI's structural engineer as to the exact scope of work. I am still waiting. He felt he would have that about now. So I'm expecting to hear from him shortly on the 4D as to how many samples of CMU and all that sort of stuff we need to take. So that is still in debate between HKI and our structural engineer. All right, so yeah, I did move the new administration building up as part of master plan, so we discussed that.
Okay,
So item, let me just continue on down the list, item
Right.
4.
please.
So on the emergency generator, did we give them the letter?
In the back, right next page.
Okay. There is, Scott asked me to put together a letter
Which one is that?
just about the decision of going with Cummins versus Quinn Caterpillar.
Hmm.
So he just said, just as part of the record, just to put together a letter that states the process we went through to determine who we chose. So that is going to be available to you. But it's just basically said as part of the record. It because as you all know, we went with Quinn Cat. But I think at our last meeting, I hadn't received a Cummins quote. So Cummins did come through with a cost proposal. It was a little less than Quinn Cat. They did not bid the same transfer switches, but they did bid 1,000 kW generator. In discussions with Scott, I went back and told Quinn that they were a little high and would they be willing to sharpen their pencil. So they went back to both the manufacturer of the transfer switches, which had a huge cost increase go into effect May 1st, excuse me. But was still honoring the price that they had given prior to May 1st. But then they trimmed more off of it from that. And Caterpillar came back with a less quote. And so the cost became very comparable, but Quinn Cat a tiny little bit high. But just to in the synopsis of this letter, it states that when we first were looking at doing a generator, I had gotten some quotes on various sizes of generators from Cummins because I had used Cummins for years, and they at that time had no problem just giving me some quotes on 3 different sizes of generators. So we kind of had a budgetary number of what the generator would cost. Then when we decided to proceed with this project, Cummins had downsized their entire operation tremendously. I spent months trying to get a quote from them and got none. So at that time, we decided to draw the plans using the Quinn Caterpillar because they have upsized their company in Bakersfield. It's huge. It's right there off of 99, just north of town. You can't miss it when you're headed up towards Airport Drive. Anyway, and so we drew the plans based on Quinn Cat. So when the Cummins came in a little bit less, I asked the architect what would it cost to redraw the plans and all the structural calcs and various things to switch to a Cummins equipment. And the estimate was 35 to 40,000 to redraw the plans. And the cost difference between the two was like 15,000. So $14,818.70 was the difference between the costs. So obviously, for us to switch to Cummins would actually cost us more money. And because again, our RFP is based upon to the best interest of the district, we're not forced to take the lower quote. Anyway, so that is.
And Scott, by all
And
that.
Scott, actually, this letter, I put this letter together, sent it to Scott, and he went through and cleaned up my English and everything and has blessed it and sent it back to me. So it's been through.
The bottom line, we can go with the higher bid because of the fact in the long run,
Yes.
it's cheaper because the other one would have to include a architectural adjustments in order to accommodate.
And another factor is that Cummins has downsized their Kern County facility to the point that all they actually do is sell parts and they do repairs on RV generators. They do not have anybody to even come out and service the generator if we purchased it from them. So we would have to be paying for somebody out of Los Angeles. So it just didn't make any sense. When you look at the best interest of the district, it's to stay with the Quinn Caterpillar. And that's where we're at on that. It was challenging because I really didn't expect Cummins to come in. I couldn't get him to go for months. I couldn't even get a quote. The only way I got a quote was I drove down to the Bakersfield facility and stood there in the waiting room for 45 minutes until I got somebody to wait on me, who then finally put me in touch with somebody out of Fresno who did send me a quote.
Wow.
But anyway, so that's kind of where we're at on the emergency generator.
Makes sense.
Secondarily, the plans are approved. We could pull a building permit tomorrow, but what I did want to discuss is the backlog due to the status of everything in the United States. And I think I mentioned this before, that we won't have a generator for 12 months. Now, we went ahead and issued a purchase order to Quinn Cat, so we are in our window of time. But in discussing this with the engineers, they did say, well, you have quite a few months of work that can be accomplished before the generator lands on site. So what I would like to ask today is what we will do is proceed with writing an RFP for a contractor to do the work and get it out and get bids, because we now have approved drawings from HCI that there will be, in theory, no changes other than found conditions. We can go ahead and put out an RFP and we can choose a general contractor. And we'll basically state that the start date will probably be in about 6 months from now. As far
I
as
make a motion that we do exactly what you just said.
that way, yes, thank you. That way our contractor will be on board. We can start the work. They can start running the conduits, the underground. They can start pouring the pads. They can do a whole lot of the work. And then when the generator arrives, it's simply a matter of craning that and the automatic transfer switches into place and making the wiring connections.
Okay, so we'll ideally start work in December or thereabouts.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Any concerns, questions on Gene's motion?
No, we just need to make it happen.
Well, I support, I just have to do a point of order real quick. Can we do a motion that doesn't say action? Just- You,
Well, that's a really good question.
I mean, I'm totally in favor of doing it, but I just want to make sure that we're not violating any Brown Act, you know what I mean?
The other option too is to put it on the board agenda.
Oh, yeah, I'm
With
too
that
weak.
letter from
Okay.
Bob
Is-
gave yesterday.
We can do that.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Because this, all of this has transpired in the last few days.
Yeah.
It didn't get on today's agenda, so I'm not asking for that today. It will be on the agenda at the board meeting that we proceed with an RFP to get a contractor on board for the generator project.
Okay. That sounds good. Is that all right with you, Gene?
Yes, I withdraw my motion.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I apologize.
I didn't know if it was a timing of the essence, saying it was
No,
an emergency kind of
no,
situation.
Yeah.
A year ahead of it.
No, it's not like pharmacy HVAC where it's like, it's gotta happen now. This is like, our generator will be here in 12 months.
Okay, got it. So that's good. Thank you, John. So we'll put that on as an action item on the board agenda.
Yes. Okay, on the emergency generator #1 failure, plans are still in HPOD, our HCI plan review. We do have a newer set of drawings that are not stamped yet, but we're working from. The majority of the work is done. The only thing I really have left to do that I'm aware of from the prints is I am casting 4 concrete embeds down into the ground to chain the generator in place so that it can't wander down the street in an earthquake.
Or a flood.
Or a flood, yes. So those holes are dug. I am waiting on my local concrete guy to give me a day that he's gonna be here to pour, because I gotta pull concrete samples and have them broken and all that kind of stuff. I have to have a rebar inspection.
Got all this just for the temporary installation.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing the hoops I get to jump through.
Wow.
I have to have the rebar. I have to take a piece of the rebar. I am allowed to buy it from True Value. I can bend it on site. I made sure I got written permission for that. But I have to take a piece and I have to have soils engineering put it in a piece of equipment and pull it till it fails and give me a document stating how strong the tensile strength of the rebar is.
Wow. Jeez.
Okay,
For temporary.
yes, for temporary. But we'll have it there in the future if we ever need to put another generator.
Hey, this is California. There could be an earthquake.
That's right. And so we'll have these massive U-bolts sticking up out of the, well, lay flat, but we can chain to. Anyway, so, all right, so, okay, #6 has got a little typo in it. That's the train boiler chiller project. Currently, I have emails out to the state fire marshal. Train wants to do that work on the week of June 6th. They want 1 day to do the work and pre-test and then do a inspection the following day with the fire marshal. I have emails out to the fire marshal. I'm waiting for a response if he's got a day available on the week of the 6th. And if he does, we back up 1 day, train comes, gets their work done, and we can final that project.
Fine.
Yes. And 7, the clinic cabinet replacement is done.
We get all the sinks and stuff. Put in.
Sinks are all in, everything's in, no leaks, flooring's repaired, painting's all touched up. Done.
Is the tenant happy?
Oh, is flooring not done? It was supposed to be done. I will be having a discussion with an employee who was supposed to put it in.
You're talking,
The VCT. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, I take that back. The VCT flooring around the nurse's station, was that done?
I'm not positive about that. I don't think so, though. But I don't know. That's
We'll take a look at that then.
I'll take a look. We do have the flooring around the exam room cabinets to be repaired because it was rolled up on the cabinets and we had to literally cut the flooring to remove the cabinets. So Bakersfield Flooring is getting me a quote to come back in and and heat weld and roll that flooring back up again. There is a challenge. That color is no longer made anymore. So I need to bring you a sample chart and we need to pick a nice accent color.
Could we not just put a regular code base in there?
Nope.
Why does that have to be rolled?
The gap is too big because of the way it rolled up on a cove. To get it out, I had to cut it right at the cove, and
Gotcha.
Plus one of the rooms is.
hindsight is wonderful. If I'd have made the cabinets 2 inches deeper, this would be a non-issue. We could have used cove base.
Right.
But we made the cabinets the same size.
Yeah.
Not 2 inches deeper and 2 inches longer.
Okay.
Anyway, every once in a while, something gets past me. So yes, we have flooring to finish. I take that back, but painting's done. Everything's functional, right, Greg?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it does that. Much better.
All right, so dietary water heater number 2 is, everything is here, everything, we are starting the work. In fact, this morning, we took that 500-gallon vertical tank and we picked it up and we laid it onto a special cart so that we can weld the feet on and then roll it in the elevator to take it upstairs. It's kind of an interesting process. The tank is 4.5 feet in diameter and 8.5 feet tall,
It'll fit in the elevator?
with
Lay it down.
1/2 inch to spare, both in length and width.
Wow.
Literally, just barely. It's the only way into the building because they didn't give me a roof hatch.
So enough, elevator robust enough to carry that much weight?
Yeah, because it only
So,
weighs
yeah.
about 1,000 pounds and the elevator's rated for 4,000.
Okay.
So we're good there. So we will be actually, I'm arranging right now for the certified welder to weld the heavier duty feet on that's required by HCI. I have to have the welder here and an inspector to inspect the welding to get the feet welded on. And at that point, we'll then take it upstairs. I ordered the special epoxy I have to order to adhere the bolts into the concrete that support the tank. So it's all in process. A lot of bits and pieces to 20 feet of pipe and a few fittings. Okay. Pyxis replacement is 99% done. If by HCI standard, probably 95. All of them are in place. All of them are anchored. I have to test the anchor bolts, and I am in process today of labeling the electrical circuits. Emergency circuits in a hospital have to have a label actually on the outlet saying what panel they're fed from and what breaker. And so I'm in process of making those labels today and going around and putting them on the electrical outlets. Other than that, I believe we are done with the Pyxis project. They are all functioning and working, both the ER, acute care, and surgery recovery. Pharmacy HVAC, we are nearing completion. The system is on. We're getting ready to notify OSHPD that the system is on and functioning. The mechanical engineer is reviewing the air balance that was done last week and making some minor adjustments to that just due to, I'm not sure why, but their design didn't calc. The calcs did not come out that the outside air, we had to increase the outside air to keep the room from going negative pressure. The room must be positive pressure. So with the amount of supply and return coming in and out of the room, when we had, so we upsized the outside air intake and the room stayed positive, and we have the air changes, 1,000 CFM air changes per hour. Everything is right, and he will do a minor ACD with HCI that we increase the size of the outside air and we increase the flow of the outside air from, I think it's 300 CFM to 500 CFM. I'm also waiting on one clarification on a device that automatically ramps up blower as the filter loads. So in other words, I have monitors on each side of all 3 filters that I built the cabinet and built the Magna Helix and ran all the lines, and it monitors the filters. But as the HEPA filter loads up, the engineer wants the fan to be able to ramp up, because the fan's running at about 65% capacity. And as the filter gets dirtier, it's harder to push the air through. So he's supposed to give me the make and model of a device to install in the ductwork that will automatically ramp up the fan. And that is the only piece I'm waiting on. And as you saw outside here, if you're here in the meeting, they're still finishing the cladding of the insulation on the ductwork. I have some anchor bolt testing to be done, but we're getting close. The system is in, functioning well. Do we have a date of when we're going to retest inside?
Once I'm sure that you guys have done everything that might disrupt the integrity of the air flowing into that department, then
Okay.
we will go ahead and do another terminal clean on the department, and then we will go ahead and order the environmental test to be done. And per Mark's, my conversation with CDPH a week ago, if that comes back negative, then we are cleared to go back to normal operations and not have to run.
I do have one last thing to do inside. The original supply and exhaust ducts that dropped into the ceiling. These gentlemen who are out here working got to crawl into the attic and cap those, and then we have to demo that grill out of the ceiling and patch the drywall. So I do have that also to do. So like I said, we're at about 90% completion on the
I
project.
can't get that done until that work that might create dust and stuff like that is.
Right. And so I don't know if we'll get that duct out this week, but we'll definitely have it out next week.
Did we fill out that application with the CDPH?
Oh, yeah. Form 200.
Form 200, no, I've downloaded the form. I have it on my computer. It's a form I've actually filled out many times once I saw it. But it's normally only done when you change bed counts and do major projects. So you got to go in and check all the boxes that are other, and you got to put a little description in. Now, I haven't notified CDPH because I'm not done enough with HCI in order for them to say it is now okay for you to release this to CDPH. I need to get a few more days into this, and then I will submit that form to Jean.
Okay. Yeah, she asked about it last time we went down to see her.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but the normal process is when you're completed with HCI and the project is only in closing documents, is the appropriate time to notify CDPH that the project is complete and ready for them to come and inspect.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. That gets us through item 10.
All right, Bob, thank you. Any other questions from the board for Bob?
The accounting office discussion, we pretty much went through that. And that was, we just need, right now, if you walk in there, and if I had a doctor's office or Lisa Wiley was in there, it's like you're walking into a bedroom. We need to do a little work on making it look like a professional office rather than a house inside.
Yeah, we haven't really decided for sure, but we could take out the kitchen. We could take out all the kitchen cabinets. The fireplace could be covered over in the living room. That's what makes it look like a house. You walk in and you see the kitchen and you have a fireplace over here in the corner. Yeah, but we haven't really discussed whether we're going to do that yet or not.
We'll try to have something. We'll try
We
to
need
have
to get into it
something
before
back.
too long.
We'll see if we can have something back, plan wise for the next committee meeting.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tim.
I should be able to do that. No problem.
Okay. Jean, did you ask for that item G to be on the agenda?
Yes, I did. I did, and I jumped the gun. I thought I was just going to discuss it under the master plan since it's sort of close to the master plan.
Okay.
Kind of interjected with before you walked.
Okay, all right. So we're good with the discussion on this? Everybody okay moving forward? Okay, then heck, we're at adjournment. So we will meet again as a board What's the date, Heidi? Do you recall?
It is going to be June sixth.
June 6th.
Yes.
Okay. We'll see you June 6th. Thanks, everybody.
Safe.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.